Hello. Yes, you got me. I am drinking coffee at almost 8 p.m. I don't know why I do this to myself. I just love coffee, okay? And I can't sleep, literally ever. It's not because of coffee, it's because I literally just can't sleep anyway. Because of reasons. So, I'm just, I enjoy the small things in life. So, actually, I'll just stop drinking after that, so, because I didn't realize how late it was, but, hello, I hope you're doing well, everyone. My name is May, and today I'm, really have something important to talk with you about, because, through my work with helping people, and myself as well, through crisis, and depression, basically I myself went through crisis that was really depression oriented, and then afterwards have supported a lot of other people through crisis through the work that I've done. And something that, and this isn't a crisis video, but I think something that recently I kind of got reminded of and really touched upon is when you're in that depression hurdle and it just feels like there's a block, right? It feels like there's like this wall that you cannot get through, that you cannot really move beyond, right? And a lot of the times, like, it's just that pain is so much, and that blockage stays there, that this wall that feels so impenetrable that it overwhelms people. It feels like you just can't live life and be happy. So that's what this video is going to really be about today. It's going to be about how to get over or through this like depression hurdle, right, where you feel like you are depressed and like there's no hope in life, there's no joy, there's no, like, you just can't see a way through what's happening. And I really want to give a framework for this while also acknowledging how hard it is, and really orienting you right now, in this conversation, because I'm not going to sit here and be like, I know everything, oh my god. I feel like so many people can give advice about what you should do when you're in that state, and a lot of these people have not been through your experience, right? They don't know your life, they don't know how to help you, they're telling you stuff that helps themselves, and this can exacerbate the problem even more. So we're gonna get into that. So I'm gonna go through some things, hopefully, with what I talk about in the first part of this video, you'll find yourself in this description of what I'm talking about, or at least in parts of it, and then you'll know this video is for you, or it can be used for educational purposes, hopefully for other people, I don't know. So one thing is what I was kind of just touching on, is that separation from other people, because other people don't, and by other people I'm also talking about providers in this. They are telling you a lot of advice, right, for how you should move through this stage of your life. Have you tried this pill? Have you tried that treatment? Have you, are you going to therapy? Are you taking, XYZ? And where you're at right now is that you are suffering and you are asking for help, and it feels like all of these people are giving you advice, and it's like you're asking for bread and people keep like pouring water in your hand, right? Like, I don't know why that was the example that we're choosing, but that's what we're going with. So you're asking for help, you're asking for a specific thing, you're like, I don't know, maybe you don't say it in these words, like you're just like, I'm depressed, I'm really struggling, I don't understand like why I'm here, I don't understand how to help myself, or like there's no joy happening in my life. Maybe good things happen sometimes, but overall, I'm just not feeling this whole life thing. And then people are like, have you tried yoga? Right, it's like that classic example. Have you tried smiling? And you're like, have I tried punching you in the face? I'm not saying you should do that, but that's what it feels like. Because it feels like they just punched you in the face emotionally. It feels like they really just neglected everything that you needed and just tried to fix your problem, right? And it can feel so alienating to feel such, intense and very understandable emotions, um, and beliefs about the world, and all of the people around you are just, it's almost like they're just not in the same realm as you. It's like you're seeing the world for what it is, and these other people aren't, right? Like, especially if you are feeling depressed about the world, the state of the world, and your part in it or lack thereof, right? Like, you don't see any hope for your future or the future of humanity, the future of the world. So like, you're like, this is what I feel bad about, and people are like, you just gotta keep going, or like, you just gotta get a new job, and you're like, can you not like actually punch you in the face? Not condoning violence. Depression in itself too kind of causes the separation between people, because especially if you have people in your don't depression, you just don't understand. And even your depression wants you to kind of cut people off, right? Depression is just so sneaky like that, where it's like, people don't care about me, I don't really feel anything when I'm with them, so it doesn't really matter, right? Like, when you're really in the thick of it, it's just like, ugh, I just hate everything about this. Maybe you're just living for other people, even. You might be at that point, and whew, just kind of feels like, what's the point, right? What's the point? And the people around you push people away, and you isolate because you don't want to deal with people's opinions. You don't want to deal with people not understanding, trying to fix you instead of just sit with you, and the amount of pain that you're in. And you probably have gotten other supports, whether it be therapy, whether it be medication, whether it be hospitalization, partial intensive outpatient, whatever it is, right? Crisis work. And you're like, what was kind of the point of all of that? Like, I don't feel different. That, I'm gonna get into it later, I'm trying to get into it now, but that is what you want. You want to feel different. You want life to be different. You want to, like, you see other people be excited about their life, or things like that, and you're like, why can't that be me? Why can't that be me? It makes you even more resentful. Depression is just such a vicious cycle that people, don't want to sit with you on, that you constantly go through every single day. But yeah, you've gone to supports and they're not helping, right? Or they're not changing your circumstance in the way that you wanted to. You feel like you're going on this hamster wheel of like, okay, I'm going to my supports, I'm going to these treatments, I'm going to see my friends, I'm safety planning, I'm like going to the hospital, and I'm going out of the hospital, and then I'm going in the hospital, then I'm going out of the hospital, and I'm going to see this therapist next week, and then I have this, and it's kind of just like, what's the point? Like, it can kind of feel like a version of hope has been sold to you. Like, you go to the hospital and things change. What happens in the movies? It's like they go to the hospital, and then it's either that the hospital's crazy and they're abusing people, or like you go and then you see the light of God, I guess, and then you come out and you're like, whoa, I'm changed. And then you're like, well, that didn't happen, so I guess I'm just fucked. Or you go there 3, 4, 5 times, you're like, what is the point of this, right? I think what's not really clear to people, and was not really clear to me as someone in the system for a long time, and in meaning working within the system, like being a provider, not a recipient of services, although this wasn't clear to me then either, was that hospitals are for stabilization. It is not for the long-term work, even though you feel like, again, that's what you need. You're like, I need a place to feel like I can rest and heal and, engage with the world again. And the hospital just ain't it. I don't really feel like there is a really good system set up for that, if I'm gonna be honest. My hot take, I guess. I don't know if that is a hot take, actually. But you feel like you're just doing whatever. You're doing this life thing and you're like barely living. You're barely going on, right? So here's what I'm not gonna ask you to do. I'm not gonna ask you to change. I'm not going to ask you to think of life differently. I'm not going to ask you to try a new treatment or take a new pill, right? The first thing I want to do is I want to acknowledge how hard this is, okay? I want to acknowledge your pain, whatever you are going through right now. If you clicked on this video, you might not be doing well, okay? And I just want to sit with you in that and say that I see you. I see how hard this is. I see how much that you have tried, even if it feels like no one else around you has seen it. how just getting up out of bed and getting whatever you do in your daily life has been so difficult, and that you probably feel worse on yourself that you can't do more. I see it, okay? And I want you to know I get it. I get it. There's other people that get it. They may not be in your life, but there's other people that get it. And depression is really tricky because it's like this disease that gets in your head and warps your perception about life, right? It can feel like a void, or like nothing exists or nothing matters. I remember when I was so depressed, I would like eat food and not even really taste the food. It felt like I would listen to music. I love listening to music, and I would just feel nothing. I would just sit there like almost like I couldn't even hear the music sometimes, honestly. It was like the depression was just so loud and pervasive, I couldn't even hear what was going on in my earphone, because I was like, oh, what? Something's going on, I don't really care. It's like other people look at something, right? And they see color and you see black and white. And you're like, why don't I see the color? I don't understand. I don't see the color. You see the color? It's a vicious cycle that feeds on itself. It's like I feel this way and I'm always going to feel this way. I don't see the color and I'm never going to see the color. No one understands me. No one gets it, right? Now, here's the part why I collected in this video. Here's the framework I'm going to give you to deal with this. And before I go through this, I want you to know that I'm not asking you to do all of these things. I'm not asking you to, basically everything in here is an invitation, and it's based on what you can do right now, right? Because sometimes even if you can do the little tiniest thing to inch forward, that's enough. That's something, right? Sometimes that's all you can do. So first thing I'm going to ask you to do is keep going to treatment. Keep going to therapy, keep doing your meds, whatever it is. And I am not saying this in a way of that's going to be the thing that changes you. We're more thinking about this in terms of we're just going because maybe something will happen, right? Like if you've been going to therapy, going to your treatments, whatever that looks like for you and at the hospital, just keep doing it. And we're going to take the pressure off of those as that being the thing that fixes you, okay? It's there to stabilize you. It's there as something that might help, but it's not the end all be all, okay? It's more of a routine right now, right? We're, even though it sucks and we don't really want to probably, we're going to keep that daily routine, because whether or not depression is lying to us, right, it is good to have that daily routine. We usually feel worse when we isolate and don't do those things, right? If my rule of thumb that I kind of developed when I was in depression was I'm not going to cancel on something if it's going to make me feel bad that I canceled on it. That so often happens in depression, where it's like, I really don't feel like I can see my friends today, and I would feel really bad about canceling on them, right? And feeling like I'm worthless, and I feel guilty, and we're not doing that. If you have to cancel and you do feel guilty, there's nothing wrong with that either. We're not, gonna be rude about it. We're not shaming anyone for doing that. They're doing the best that they can. And you here right now are doing the best that you can, and I know that. But yeah, so keep going to your supports. Keep going as the routine, okay? Now, so we're going through all of our treatments and such. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to try and find your why. Why do you want to get better, right? And this can take a while because for some people, it's going to be, other factors in their life that are not themselves. It's going to be their dogs. It's going to be their animals. It's going to be their family. It's going to be their career. And there's nothing wrong with those things. Your why is your why, right? I imagine that if you're here, you either have kind of like that your original why as to why you kind of kept going in your life probably fell apart in some sort of reason. It probably was sabotaged or changed, whether by you or something else. We have to renegotiate what our why is, most likely. We have to find a new why as to why we're here and kicking and trying to solve our depression crisis that continuously comes up. And what I really challenge people to do, if they're able to, and if it feels sensible, feels right, is to think about themselves and why they want to be on this earth, because this is going to give them that internal motivation, right, to really keep going. For a lot of people who are depression is this thing that happens over and over and over again. When you have that stable foundation of why you're doing this, why you keep trying to change yourself, it keeps you going and doesn't let you go back, right? Because then you know what you have to lose. So I'll give you an example of me and how I kind of moved through that. I asked people for a whole like year of my life, which it was kind of a crazy question, but I needed to ask it. I needed to know kind of like what people were gonna say. And I asked everyone, why are you living? Why are you doing this thing called life? And a lot of people would say things like kind of what I listed off before. And it wasn't enough for me. That wasn't an answer that I was like, I need something else. I tried living for other people and it didn't work. I need something for me. And some people would say some things that I felt like were more about themselves, like their job, career, or like their ambitions in life. Though they love traveling, but I feel like it wasn't good enough for me. And I tried to put all of that away eventually and was like, I need to figure out my own reasons. I sat down with myself and I was like, what do I even like about life? What do I even enjoy? Right? When depression is not there. And it can feel so hard to imagine this, especially when you're in it, because depression can feel so all-consuming. But I was like, there are times where I don't feel this, so what's happening in those times? And I kind of came to this conclusion that I live for the time where I feel connected, loved, and loving the good things in life. When I am with my cat and I'm cuddling with my cat because I love my cat, or when I am with my partner and we're together and we're just literally just existing. I just love existing with my partner, and I love feeling the sun on my face. I love music and listening to music. There's just so many things that I love. I love having a body and like feeling and touching things, right? And I feel like kind of what kept me on that depression hamster wheel a lot is depression would take all of that away from me, where I felt like I was isolating, right? I didn't enjoy these things, I didn't whatever. Eventually I made a pact with myself. I was like, if I can't figure out how to get through life, I won't be here. I won't be here. I'll be gone. I'll be out. I'll be outie. Bye-bye. Of this lifetime. Oh, I also love being playful, if you haven't noticed. So, and I also like being playful during the work because the work can feel really heavy and it doesn't need to be heavy the entire time. We do some heavy shit, might as well laugh. So, not out your pain, but I made this pact with myself that when there was no joy in life, genuinely, when there was nothing I loved, nothing that made me feel good ever, right? Then I would take myself out. But as long as there is something, I will stay. And I can I'm even looking back, I can see because the depression can tell you there is nothing and you never feel good. And it just, I really had to be like, it's not true. It's not true. Like, I really had to try to look at it objectively and be like, there are times where I feel okay. It is not an all or nothing. It is not black and white, right? Even if it's just for like a minute or something, or a second. There are times where I don't feel like this. And if I always feel like this, right, I'll be outie. Bye-bye. But if I'm not, if there are times where there's joy and love and laughter, I will stay. So I made that pact with myself. Basically, that pact really helped me because whenever I really felt like, I didn't want to be on this earth anymore, I was like, okay, but I laughed today. I laughed yesterday. Like, I laughed 3 weeks ago. There's something here that I can work towards, right? It doesn't have to be bad all the time or good all the time, right? So that's the second thing I'm gonna do. What is your why? And you can think about this, like, why do you like life? What do you enjoy working towards? It can be big picture or small picture. Maybe you enjoy simple routines, or maybe you want to build an empire, right? Maybe you want to, just spend time with your animals, or maybe you want to be social media, I don't know. Whatever it is for you. What are your ambitions? What gives you passion? What gives you purpose, right? Because what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to connect to these things even when you're feeling like there's no hope in life, like there's nothing to do, right? We're not at that point yet, but that is the goal eventually, right? And even if you can't feel it in those times, those are the things that are going to make it so you don't take actions that are against this vision of your life that you have, that you want, that you're trying to create, or just the things that are important to you, right? I knew if I took myself out, I wouldn't get any time with my cat anymore, and I fucking love my cat, okay? I fucking love my cat. Your brain and body are wired in this way for some sort of reason, right? And what we can do is we can change how your body reacts to things, and we can change how your body and brain they're dominant pathways. This is what a lot of people will call the rewiring process, right? So if you want to change your brain and body, you can. And if you don't want to, you don't have to. Again, I'm not asking you to. It's just an option there if you want it. The thing is that so often when we're feeling that pain and we're really in the thick of it, we want that relief now. We need the relief now. That's why we're like considering not being here, is because it hurts so much. It feels so awful. The thoughts that come over and over and over again that you feel escapable, but we can change it. It is possible. It's just when we want it to go faster than what is possible. And that's why we need our why, because this work can be long. This work can feel tiring. This work can feel like, I thought I heard you. I thought I heard you. What are you doing? Come in. You want to be in here with me? Yeah, come here. Look, I'm doing a little something. Hi. Hi. She's camera shy. We want to ask her to come on. You're too much of a superstar for that, huh? Oh, I know you too. No, you too. Thanks for coming to spend time with me. Oh, a good way to try to find your why is to also think about your values and like what what feels important to you, what you just think is important in your life. So for me, it is helping other people. It is savoring experiences. I really try to savor experiences. It is embodiment. I love being in my body. Not all the time, sometimes it feels awful. But that is just something that I value and I try to work towards every day. I really value connection with other people. I really value playfulness. So these are things that I try to cultivate in my life every day. And what I had to do is I had to go through the rewiring process of letting my body actually feel these things, right? Actually enjoying food, actually enjoying, right? And at first it sucked because it was like, I can't really feel anything. Like I would eat food and again, sometimes I really couldn't even taste it, but I had to retrain my body. Right? Its survival mechanism was to try to get me to not be here because this world's hard. Now, I feel like I really am able to spend time with my cat and just love it and not feel like I'm like reliant on it, right? It's like something that adds to my life and it's not my entire life. So that's another way you can find your why. So here's what we're gonna do. We're going to first look at how depression shows up for you. Okay, this is how we're going to start the rewriting process. So we're going to look at how your brain is thinking about depression, right? Like when depression shows up, what thoughts are happening, right? Through that, what belief is it highlighting that you're saying about the world? What belief is underneath that? So if you're saying, I hate myself, well, I guess that's a belief, is that you hate yourself. And then maybe, that is also saying, I'm not worthy of love. I am not worthy of feeling good about myself, right? Or it's saying there's no point in feeling good about myself. The world's awful, right? What you can do is when these thoughts are going on in your head, you can ask why. It's like that cheesy exercise where you ask why, but it's actually going to help here, okay? Where you're like, your brain will say something and you're like, why? We're practicing that curiosity, right? We're getting curious about what are the deeper meaning between what our thoughts are saying. Second thing we're gonna look at, what feelings are showing up for you. So lots of people say they feel down or hopeless, like there's a void like in their lives. So the first thing to start doing the rewriting process is once we've acknowledged what these are, what we're gonna do is we're going to build up our tolerance to process through these experiences. So research states that usually with feelings, the start and end of them is usually 90 seconds. So let's say you feel sad and then, it's usually 90 seconds of what, that feeling of sadness until it dissipates and goes away. It's when we hone in on them more often, right? Or, it's either reoccurring thoughts or holding the emotions literally inside of us because we're not ready to let them go, that they stick. And this isn't to literally say depression's your fault, right? I'm not sitting here and telling you that you just need to let go of your depression. That is not what I'm telling you to do right now. What I am telling you is that very often what depression will do is it will warp our perception of reality, and then that warped perception becomes our beliefs about ourselves and the world. And then that's when the vicious cycle comes in. And that's when we have to challenge what depression is telling us, right? When depression tells me I should just kill myself, I don't matter, people want me dead, I have to be like, not everyone wants me dead. I have to do that because I'm like, part of the LGBT community. Emphasis on T. So what I have to tell myself is that, people actually do want me here. Oh, there's nothing good in life that's happening to you. Yes, there is, right? I have really good things in my life. You have to be able to challenge that, as exhausting as it can be, and as sometimes I'm feeling like it's impossible. That's the way through, right? But we have to process through that. We have to acknowledge it's there, and we have to build up our tolerance. When I first started in this, I couldn't do that. I would try to feel my feelings, and I would be like, we're cutting, we're like, we're drinking, we're doing whatever. That's why, if you're in this state where you really don't feel like you can, feel through your experience, and there's no shame in that. This is so hard. We're gonna go through the distraction and then building tolerance cycle, where, we're distracting ourselves, we're living life, we're doing our routines, whatever, and it all feels bad, whatever. And then, we'll have some time where we try to acknowledge and process through. Just try to sit with our feelings, and sitting with, like, feeling it in your body, feeling it in your brain, and not reacting, not judging, trying to let it go through, right? And if you need to, you can challenge it. But if you need to just let it go through, you can just let it go through as well. But we're just trying to sit with it, okay? And this is the DBT skill. This is tied with the DBT skill, riding the wave, which, if you don't know, dialectical behavioral therapy, it is, this is a skill that basically is like emotions are like waves, and, the waves come, they go up, they go down, they crash, and then they come back, right? So emotions come, they get really intense, eventually they stabilize, and then they go out, right? Emotions come, and then go out. Depression feels like it's just like a wave that stops, crashes over you, and then it's like the wave freezes, right? What we're trying to do is we're trying to let that wave go up and then out, up and then out. And this can be really, really hard. The depression's gonna try to pull you back in over and over and over and over. And what we're trying to work through, what we're trying to do is just work with it. And go through the process of learning how to deal with that, right? And if it gets too much for you, it feels overwhelming, or you feel like, you're having some not so nice thoughts about yourself or the world, you can just stop and go through the distraction cycle again. Do whatever you need to do that's not really harmful to yourself. If possible, if it is harmful to yourself, harm reduction. So another reason why we're trying to process through is that our nervous system holds stories, right? So when your depression comes in, you're usually in what they call dorsal state, or a state of like, the danger is so big you just crash, right? That state of your nervous system holds a story about yourself, about the world, about the work, right? So another part of this is we're trying to change the literal state of our nervous system. It's not very hard to do, or sometimes it can be really hard, but when our body's just working as intended, it's not very hard to move through states. It just kind of naturally happens. This is why when the depression moves through and your state of your nervous system literally moves to the ventral vagal, it almost feels like the veil is being lifted from you, right? And you're like, oh my god, life is life. That is moving from dorsal to ventral, right? And it's the narrative changes about the world, because you're not in that nervous system state anymore. So it doesn't feel so hopeless, doesn't feel so all-consuming, right? So another way to do this is by activating your nervous system. I like to shake, I like to do the shakies. You can walk, you can run, you can do exercise, anything that gets a little, you can really just sit up. That's activation right there, is sitting up. You can look up activation stuff in your nervous system. Again, we're not saying this is gonna like change everything, but it does shift your nervous system, right? Now, the actual rewiring process. So once we're at this point where we are processing more and we're able to really hold the emotions and move through them, we have to replace what's already there, right? And this is through neuroplasticity, and this is through changing our nervous system states, right? Where right now our dominant is whatever depression's going on, in our body or in our brain, and in our body it's dorsal depression. So what we need to do is we need to rewire that. Again, this is why your why is important, because your why is what you're moving towards. So we're going to be challenging those limiting beliefs that you have, and we're going to be replacing them, right, with beliefs that maybe feel empowering to us, or beliefs that we feel can be true or are true. Again, this is the depression's telling you something and you're like, nope, you're wrong, it's not black and white, it's okay. Hello. Excuse me lying down. My camera died, but I just need to lay down. I have chronic illness, but we could still talk about this. So we left off on replacing our beliefs with ones that serve us more. Now, the second thing we're going to do in the rewriting process is we're going to try to build more positive emotion. And the way we're going to do this, well, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. You can do visualizations of, maybe your ideal life or just times where you're happy. You can reflect on memories, right? Visualize those memories, live in the memories. You can do journaling, right? Of, what you would rather your life be, or times you were happy. Again, it's either like what you're imagining, what your life could be, or what your life was. Or just what you're working towards, right? You can also do this like in a meditation visualization, right? There's different ways to like just conjure those emotions. What we're trying to do, is set our body to a different state. Basically, we're trying to bring our bodies into where we want them to be, right? So instead of the world kind of dictating how we feel, we're dictating how we feel despite the world going on around us. Because our depression is always just going to find fodder for us to hate the world and everything, and the only thing we're in control of is our own emotions and the only thing we're in control of is our own response to our emotions and our thoughts and feelings. And the third thing you're going to do in the rewriting process is move your nervous system up. So like we talked about before, moving it from dorsal, sympathetic, and ventral, shaking, basically anything that activates your nervous system. If it's creative projects, I think that's a really good one too, painting, creative writing, whatever it is. And lastly, what I want you to do is I want you to research new treatments and meds and things like that, if you feel like that could be something that's helpful for you. And the reason this is I always say, don't rely on your providers. Your providers don't know all of the options. Your providers don't know what's best for you. We kind of go to these people expecting them to have the answers, them to have the things to refer us to. Unfortunately, our system is broken as fuck. So you have to be the one to figure it out. You have to be the one to figure out, does my insurance pay, right? You have to be, and when you're depressed, you don't want to deal with any of that shit. Okay, you don't want to deal with any of it. When you feel like you're able to, right? And this is kind of why this is, as we build up our tolerance for moving through, we're going to research new treatments, new ways to move through our experiences. So just to recap, to do this like step by step. Step one, keep going to treatments. And keep doing whatever your daily routine is, or what you've been doing. And we're not putting emphasis on that being the thing that's going to change our lives, okay? We're going to them because one, it's just our daily routine, and two, maybe they'll help, maybe they won't. We don't know. Number two, find your why of why you want to get better and what life you're moving toward. Three, evaluate how you think, feel, and what emotions come up when you are depressed. And then, label them. What negative beliefs, what stories, what emotions, what sensations, what nervous system state you're in, if you want to do that. Number four, we're going to build up our tolerance to these feelings and try to process through them as best we can. And when we can't do that, we're going to go through the distraction and building up tolerance cycle, where we're going to try to build as much tolerance as we can, then we're going to, go to distraction when we can't. 5, we're going to do the rewiring process. So, and the way we're going to do this is we're going to challenge the limiting beliefs that we've noticed, and then replace them with ones that serve us more, or the ones that we just want. 2 is that we're going to try to build more positive emotions inside of us. And 3, we're going to try to move our nervous system to a different state, so we don't get stuck in that same narrative where our nervous system, lives. Because here's the thing, I know what you want is to skip to number 5. I know you want to skip to the rewiring process because you want relief. This is hard. And the thing is, we have to go through this process, right? We have to go through this process. We're missing a step. We're missing something, or you wouldn't, continue to feel this way. So we have to go through what this is. Okay, we have to move through what's happening to us. You can stick with it. Okay, stick with it. This journey can be hard. This journey can be long. As long as you keep trying and learning more about yourself, what you want out of your life, what helps you, the way that you know how to make yourself change, right? Part of this is learning how you can change your life, right? Like how you can change your circumstances in your body, what the process is for you to do that. And it's different for everyone. That's why it kind of sucks, because I can't just give you like a do this, right? It's different for everyone, because people are different. We all have different reasons why we do things, different things that help our bodies and brain. But I know you can do it. I know it's possible. And if you want to, you can move to a different space in your life. And if you want to stay where you're at, you can stay where you're at. There's literally no problem with that, okay? No shame, no blame. It's just if you want to, it can happen. Alright everyone, thank you so much. If you can, like and subscribe on this community. We talk about mental health stuff, give tips. I love the comments to be supportive. Oh my god, that'd be great. We could all support one another. That'd be amazing. But yeah, feel free to subscribe. I post reels, shorts, and I don't even know what they're called, TikToks, on social media and stuff. So you can follow, links are in the description. But yeah, I will see you. Oh, and subscribe and turn a little bell on, because my next video is going to be on how to create momentum when you feel like you're stuck. So this was just kind of getting through, and this is going to be how do you, keep the mental going, how do you start it and keep it. And then the one after that is going to be a secret thing that impacts mental health a lot. So subscribe, stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one.